to the Compliance Kitchen podcast. Today we will take a quick look at sanctions, OFAC sanctions. We have a termination of the sanctions on Burundi. So if you have any business dealings there, this might be of interest to you. Now, before we get into that, I want to state that whatever you hear on Compliance Kitchen is not legal advice and it should not be used as such. So going to the OFAC announcement, this is from February 10. They announced that they are removing from the Code of Federal Regulations the Burundi sanctions regulations as a result of the termination of the national emergency that triggered these regulations. So kind of looking at the history a little bit, back in November of 2015, the president issued Executive Order 13712, blocking property of certain persons contributing to the situation in Burundi. When the U.S. president found that the situation in the country, which had been marked by the killing and violence against civilians, incitement of violence, and significant political repression, constituted an unusual and extraordinary threat and was against the United States foreign policy interests. And so the president declared national emergency to deal with this threat. So this was in November of 2015. Then in April of 2016, OFAC issued the Burundi sanctions regulations as a final rule to implement the 2015 executive order. The regulations were issued in abbreviated form for the purpose of providing immediate guidance to the public. Later, in November of 2021, the president issued Executive Order 14054, which was termination of emergency with respect to the situation in Burundi. And this was when the U.S. president determined that the situation in the country had been significantly altered by the events of 2020, including the transfer of power following elections, 2020 elections in Burundi, significant decrease of violence, and the country's president's pursuit of reforms across multiple sectors. So accordingly, the U.S. president terminated the national emergency that was declared in the 2015 executive order and revoked that order. So as a result of this, OFAC issued a statement removing the regulations from the CFR. It should be noted that the termination of the national emergency will not affect any action taken or proceeding pending, not finally concluded or determined as of November 18, 2021, which was the date of the Executive Order 14054, which terminated the Burundi emergency, and also any action or proceeding based on any act that was committed prior to the 2021 executive order, or any rights or duties that matured or penalties that were incurred again prior to that executive order 14054, which is the one that terminated the Burundi emergency. So if you want to take a closer look at this update, this is available in the Code of Federal Regulations and also on OFAC's website. Again, you want to be careful taking a look at this so that you fully understand what has been terminated and what has not been affected by the removal of the Burundi sanctions regulations by OFAC.